Happy Halloween, everybody! This year, I wanted to look back on one of my favorite games of all time, Luigi's Mansion. I truly think this is one of the most overlooked games in the Mario franchise, because despite its huge cult following, I've never seen much discussion surrounding it, and I think that's partially because of the games that came after the first, those being Dark Moon and Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm not saying that these games have tarnished the reputation of the Luigi's Mansion series, because these games still have a ton of fans, but I think they get rid of what made the first game so special, and that is the overall spooky factor. Yes, I know, why would I care about a Mario game being creepy? Well, I think it gave Luigi's Mansion 1 a highly unique feel that set it apart from other Mario spin-offs at the time. But since its successors ditched that aspect, I often come back to the first game way more. The year was 2001, and Nintendo was ready to release their next home console, the Nintendo GameCube. Now, the GameCube had some pretty big shoes to fill, as the N64, while not selling particularly well compared to the competition, brought us some of the most iconic games of all time. Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, Ocarina of Time, all of these are considered to be genre-defining games. And the fact that Super Mario 64 was a launch title for the N64 was insane. So Nintendo needed something similar to put out as a launch title for the GameCube, so they settled on Luigi's Mansion. Now, obviously, Luigi's Mansion isn't your everyday Mario game, as the gameplay is completely different from traditional platformers. Luigi's Mansion is much more exploration-based. The game starts with Luigi getting a deed to a brand new mansion, but it seems that this is all a trick as the mansion is filled with ghosts. Not only that, but Mario is trapped inside, so Luigi has to explore the mansion to save him. Despite the plot of the game being very simple, I think it does a great job of setting the game up. It does an especially good job of introducing the mansion itself, which is what you explore throughout the game. And it feels like an actual mansion too. You run around and explore actual rooms that you could find in an actual mansion. So that added bit of realism does contribute to the overall eeriness of it. And I mean, yeah man, the atmosphere of this game is insanely good. It's very quiet and dark, especially when exploring rooms you haven't been in. I especially like when you walk through a quiet area, Luigi starts whistling the main theme until the actual music creeps in. It's really good stuff. You can tell Luigi is scared shitless when exploring the mansion, but Luigi doesn't have to fear because he has the Poltergust. The overall gameplay of this game is really good if you ask me. It's not like a traditional Mario game where you can run and jump and stuff, because, well, Luigi's Mansion isn't a platformer, but the whole premise of catching ghosts is still pretty fun. You get the Poltergust from this crazy scientist dude, Professor Gadd, and with the Poltergust you can capture ghosts, but you can also use it to gather collectibles and money. To catch a ghost, you have to stun them with your flashlight, and then you have to wiggle the joystick around. And sometimes, if you're unsuccessful, the ghost will break away from the Poltergust and start throwing hands. But if you are successful, it's extremely satisfying. Though the controls and movement are a little stiff for my liking. I know this isn't necessarily a game that requires precise movement, especially considering that, again, this isn't a platformer, but I still think movement could be improved just a tad. But they're pretty serviceable when walking around the different areas of the mansion. Speaking of which, the mansion is split into 4 different areas. We have the entrance area, the first story, the outside or second story of the mansion, and the attic/basement. And I think they did a really good job at increasing the eeriness as you traverse the areas. Difficulty isn't necessarily an issue in this game, so they had to do something to change things up as you progress, and I think they did a good job at that. There are several types of ghosts you can catch in this game. The standard enemy ghosts randomly show up around the mansion, and these are the small fry. You can catch them to get certain collectibles and items. Now, the boss ghosts, on the other hand, are way more human-like and show up in different rooms. These ghosts each have different ways of defeating them. Like, at the beginning of the game, there's a ghost where you have to open the curtain to stun. You know, it's all stuff like that. These boss ghosts are what you need to get keys that allow you to access more rooms. And there's usually a bigger one at the end of each area that you capture to unlock the next area. When you get to the second area, you also release the 50 boos that are spread throughout the mansion. So in most rooms, there'll be a boo hiding behind an object, and once you interact with that object, the boo will show itself and you have to capture it. But you gotta be quick, as if you don't capture it in time, it might go to a different room, which I think personally adds to the interconnectedness of the mansion as a whole. The boos are fun to capture too, and there are 50 of them in total, so there's a lot of fun to be had there. Well, kinda. The boss at the end of the third area has you capture like 25 boos, so really there's only like maybe 25 to 30 that you find in rooms, but that's whatever. At the end of the game, you face King Boo, who is commandeering the giant Bowser robot thing, and what you gotta do here is suck up the spike balls and launch them back at him. I think this is a cool boss to end the game on, and after that, you save Mario and leave the mansion. The end. But yeah, dude, this game is just really cool to me. I like the eerie atmosphere, the streamlined yet open-ended gameplay, and the overall vibe of the game. It's why I've come to appreciate Luigi's Mansion 1 over Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3. Those games never seemed to be able to recreate the same feel that the original game did. Those had more of a goofy sort of cartoony feel to them, and some people may like that, but the atmospheric feel of the original is what sets it apart for me. Not only that, but the mission-based structure of the new games made them feel less interconnected. It no longer feels like you're exploring an actual mansion, but rather, you're just exploring tiny sets of rooms in every mission. It's just not as coherent and fun as the original Luigi's Mansion game, which is why I want the original to get remade so badly, but instead, we got Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Oh well, I guess. But yeah, guys, that's a quick review of Luigi's Mansion. If I had to give this game a score, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's a solid experience all around, and one I would recommend to any Nintendo fan, and it's perfect for the Halloween season. Hopefully one day they revisit this style of Luigi's Mansion, either in a remake or a new game. I would love to see that, but let me know what you all think about this game in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. But that's all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.